Hey everyone, so today I'm going to be talking about 66, the 2006 movie. First of all, though, please forgive me if this video is kind of really awkwardly edited. I'm just recovering from quite a really bad cold and I keep having to cough halfway through it. So I've edited out what I can, so fingers crossed it flows reasonably okay. To be honest, I only watched this because it's part of my Helena Bonham Carter collection. As you will see, she's on the front of the DVD. The DVD is quite easy to get hold of. I think I paid around about £5 or £6 for it, so it's not that expensive. But she's not actually in it that often. For me, what I love about this film has nothing to do with Helena Bonham Carter, and I think that's quite a good thing for me, because even though I may watch a film just because she's in it, there are so many other reasons to love that film, and that's quite a really positive thing. So the plot for this, I was kind of a bit concerned that I wasn't going to particularly like it, because it's very football heavy, kind of. It's about a boy who's planning his bar mitzvah, and he finds out that his bar mitzvah falls on the date of the World Cup. And he spends the majority of the film praying that England don't get into the finals, because if England get into the finals, it's obviously going to mean that a lot of people aren't going to turn up to his bar mitzvah. Now, I'm sure most of us know what happened in the World Cup finals in 1966. I don't need to tell you that. So we're kind of watching it knowing more than what Bernie does, the boy himself, than what he knows. But it's quite a comical story in parts. It started off really well. It's narrated from the perspective of Bernie as he's planning things, and most of the time we see things the way he sees them. And I always like that. I always like it when we have a youngster's perspective on things for the most part. And that helps with the whole story about how he is growing up and he is becoming a man, which is obviously the whole point of a bar mitzvah. But there's more to it than that. It is quite comical to begin with, but after that it kind of gets a bit emotional. I'll admit there are one or two points where I did actually well up. There's a point near the end where I actually cried, and I did not expect that. You know, it says there, from the makers of Bridget Jones, and Bridget Jones's diary is hilarious. I thought it was going to be hilariously funny. And in parts it is comical, but it's so much stronger than that. And I don't mean it wasn't funny in a bad way, because it was, but as I said, it made me cry. I wasn't prepared for that kind of emotion, so it hit me quite hard. The thing that got me the most, though, is the fact that I thoroughly enjoyed it despite the football connection. I will hold my hands up and say I'm not the biggest football fan. In fact, I don't really care for football at all. And I thoroughly enjoyed this, and that's something I want to stress. If you, like me, kind of looked at the DVD or the film and thought, might watch it, don't really care for football, watch it. It is phenomenal. It's not really about the football. The main thing, of course, is not the football, but it's about learning about what becoming a man, or in general becoming an adult, actually means, and that transition from kind of childhood into adulthood. It is quite a powerful story and quite strong, and that's where a lot of the emotion comes in, and if I may use this cliche phrase, a lot of the tear-jerking moments happen, because it is quite an emotional journey. I mean, if you have been to a bar mitzvah or you are planning your own bar mitzvah, it's obviously going to mean a lot more to you than it will to me. You know, I kind of felt like I was watching it as an outsider sometimes, but not in a negative way, in quite a nice kind of eye-opening way. It was really enlightening in that sense. And then, I must be honest, it was quite nice to have this footage of the World Cup, if you know what I mean. It was quite interesting to kind of experience that hype. I do think the portrayal of the 60s is very, very good. Sometimes I feel when films are trying to do the 1960s, it's kind of really over the top and really in your face, and this isn't. I'm not sure if there are a couple of images on the back, but you have to kind of watch it to get the real feel of it. But I did kind of feel immersed in that decade, and it works very well. It's also very well directed. It's directed by Paul Weiland. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but the name will be in the below bar, who directed Maid of Honor and Mr. Bean, loads of different things like that. There are some moments where, cause it's not an overly complex film, there aren't really intricate scenes, but there are just little bits of directing which really make it that a little bit more. I kind of looked at certain scenes and thought that was really well directed, and that's very well done. Just little transitions that makes it just that little bit more special. The cast is great. Of course, we have Helena Bonham Carter, who is flawless, even though she's not really in it that often. They kind of could have cast anybody in her role, but of course I am pleased they cast her. Tate's in it, which I hadn't expected. She popped up in the first couple of minutes, and it was quite a weird moment, but that was lovely. Again, she's not overly in it. It's just based on a true story, and the cast characters, as far as I'm aware, who kind of resemble the real life people, and you see the footage at the end, and it worked really well. Gregg Sulkin plays Bernie, and I went through the entire film going, I recognise him, I don't know where from. He's done quite a lot. He's been in Wizards of Waverly Place, which I think he played Mason Greyback. I think that's where I recognise him from. But in all, it's just a fantastic film. Yes, it's football heavy, but it's not at the same time. Football, though it may appear in the foreground, is not the main message of the film. There are other things going on in there. It's a very emotional story. There are a lot of little surprises thrown in along the way to kind of intensify it. And I wasn't expecting that level of emotion from this film. So it's completely surprised me in a really positive way, which, if any film can do that, it's a winner with me. Cast is great, directing is great, the entire thing from start to finish I love. It's only an hour and a half, so it's not too long, and I will definitely watch it again. I definitely recommend it to everybody. As I said, the DVD itself is not that expensive. I can't remember where I got this from. It might have been HMV, it might have been Amazon, I'm not too sure, but it's quite wildly available. Let me know your thoughts if you've seen this. If you haven't seen this, do go and check it out. I think it's on, well, it'll be on Love Film, probably Netflix. Actually, probably not Netflix. I'm not the biggest fan of Netflix, but that's not the point. Let me know, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!